Good morning. Hello, Patricio. How are you?
All good, and you?
Not bad. We are in a lockdown again for a week.
Oh, that's bad.
So we will see. How's the situation in Mexico? It's okay?
It's the same. It hasn't been a good situation since the beginning, so fine. I guess we are kind of used to
Do you have a look the platform? Do you like it?
Yeah, I have been looking at it. I have not started the assessments because university has been taking a lot of my energy at this point, but I'm going to try to start with the assessment this week.
Okay, good.
But yeah, it's a very friendly platform.
How are you guys?
Good morning.
Good morning, Manu.
We see you in a different way, Santi.
Oh. Let me check what's going on. Oh, yeah.
No. Yeah.
How are you guys?
No bad, thank you. In the lockdown.
Yeah, man. Once again.
Yeah.
Let's see for how long.
Yeah, we will see. But we are in Mansfield.
Oh yeah?
Do you know Mansfield?
Yes, close to the snowy mountains.
Yeah. We are here. We arrived last week on Sunday night. And we stay because the plan was going back Melbourne on Thursday night, but we decided to stay longer.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. So we will see. We will see.
How is it days? Must be very cold. No.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Today is very sunny. Last night was cold during the night, but today is very sunny.
Oh, that's good. How are you, Patricio?
All good. I haven't been able to start the assessments because of my finals, but I think this week I will start doing them.
Good, man. Good. What about you, Manu? Do you have any chance to go to the platform?
Yeah, I've been in the platform, but I didn't start yet the assessment. I will start today after the class. So I will start typing.
Yes. Guys, remember the idea is to start with the first unit. So you start organizing everything in order. Otherwise, it becomes a little bit messy for you. But at the same time, if you need anything, then we have an order as well. So, probably Patricio maybe having the same question, and then we can connect everything together. All right, good. Any idea about Jose? No. Yeah. Just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so Andres.
Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, thank you. I'm good. I'm sorry that I wasn't attending class.
Yes, man.
I'm really sorry. I was a little busy. But I'm back.
Man, it's good to have you back. You missed a couple of very important classes, though.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you why, because this is the processes block, guys, and the processes block is critical. You know, like the baseline block. Okay, if you fail one class, is something. Two classes is something that is manageable. The people block still, you know, are things that are very common to you. Communication is something that you understand. Relationships is something, you know, stakeholder management, you know, the people block is, but the processes block, this one is project management 100%. So we need to be careful about that, my friend. I told Manuel about the situation, and I offer you guys 2 hours, all right, to catch up.
Okay.
Because the problem with our, it's not the problem, it's just actually why our program is so good. It's because there is a logical order in terms of the units that we are executing, learning and executing. So if you go to the next unit, yeah, without the previous one, the connection is not there, you know.
Of course.
For example, my friend Andres, you missed it. For example, our last class, which was facilitate continuous improvement. And today we start with the innovation class. So the continuous improvement allows innovation. You know, it opens the space for innovation to happen. And that's why, my friends, it's not a criticism. I understand that we're busy and everything, but because it's such a fast diploma of project management, it's like 6 months. It's something that you usually do in 1 year. But because it has been structured to be a fast sprint, we need to commit to that fast sprint, all right? Just a short one. Okay, guys, so thank you. Now, the class today, we start with a new class today, which is the innovation class. So this class is all about innovation. Because without innovation, work or a work environment, a workplace, doesn't have what is required for the company to move forward. So that is the analysis that we need to do. We need to do the following analysis. We need to move the company forward. Yes, because that's why we exist. What is that the project manager does? Hey, to move the company forward? You know, with these projects that we execute, that we finalize, boom, we move the company forward a little bit. Yeah, we know that. Remember that we talk about that. That is one of the principles of what we're learning. We're learning project management based on some principles. What is one of those principles? Project management exists to change the company from A to B. That is discussed. All right, cool. Now, that will not happen if there is not an innovative work environment. If there is not a culture that allows, that celebrates innovation. Right word, that celebrates innovation. We need to understand that without innovation, again, no environment, again, the company does not move. If the company does not progress, that is when you have a real problem at business level. I'm going to tell you something, guys. Last week, I was, 10 days ago, I was invited to speak at a conference, and we were talking about digital marketing and finances. That was the topic of the conference. It was finances, like a very important component of a business, and we know that that is true. And the other part was digital marketing as a very important component of a business, and we know that is true too. So we were talking about these two topics. And the conclusion basically was, even though finances, you know, is a very important component of the success of a business, is progress, is moving forward, is executing projects, what really matters the most. Because for a lot of people, what really matters the most is what we call the cash flow. Yes, you have heard about the cash flow. And the cash flow is a component of finance. It's one of the analyses that we do when we run a business at financial level. The income of money coming and the outcome of money. And that is called the cash flow. And we went down to the point that even though that is very critical because that is the oxygen of the business, is the constant belief, is the constant culture around let's do another project after we finish this one, what really moves companies forward. So that is the focus now. The focus now is if we are working in a company, because we are part of a company, how can we develop an innovation, or how can we establish an innovative work environment? What can we do to help the company to establish an innovative work environment? That is the class today. Now, has to be done through processes. So it's not like you are going to be, padding everyone every day. Oh, fantastic. Remember that we love innovation. No, it's not just that. No. Has to be done through processes and systems that will facilitate innovation. So sounds like a very simple task, and it is at many levels, as far as we develop the systems that will achieve the objectives that we have in terms of innovation. So it's all about the system. So you're taking notes, be aware of it. It's all about the system. So one of the questions will be, tell us about the system. Why? Because it's not the goal what we are trying to achieve with innovation. Guys, I'm going to tell you perhaps the most important part of the class right now. All right, so please pay attention for a minute, because I am about to tell you the most important component of the entire class right now, which is basically the following. When you are trying to achieve a goal using innovation, then you fail. Then you fail. Look, when you are trying to achieve a goal using innovation systems and processes, innovation, then you fail, because the process is what really matters here. In other words, the system is what we are after. Is the development of that system, is not the achievement of the objective. Innovation is not for you to achieve the objective. Innovation is for you to develop a system that will constantly help the company to achieve that objective every time. Every time that the company tries to achieve that objective or something similar, the company already has this system that is working like a Swiss machine, helping the company to get there. That is the beauty of this. If we, project managers, if we understand that we are not in this class to develop or to achieve the objective, but to develop a system that will help us to achieve that objective, boom, done. So imagine that, you live far in the forest. There is no connection to water. You need to walk, like 800 meters, 700 meters to the closest creek. And you live in that little house there, close to that creek, and you need water. Guys, what is the objective? The objective is to get some water. You need the water. I mean, I don't need to explain why we need water. We need water. So what is the objective? The objective is to go and get water. Get water. That is the objective. But innovation is not about the water. It's not about you achieving and getting the water, because then you will be thinking about how to get there faster. No, it's not about getting there and getting the water. No, it's about developing a system so you don't need to go and get the water. It's about the system. It's not about the bloody objective. once we understand this, the entire brain unlocks when it comes to this unit. So systems. Good. Now, there are two kinds of innovation, though. There are two kinds of innovation. One innovation is called sustaining innovation. Sustaining innovation. Oof. All right. And there is another kind of innovation that is called disruptive. Disruptive. Hmm? So your mapping in terms of your knowledge is starting to be developed. It's starting because at least now we know the why. At least now we know the why, which is the ecstasy, is the nirvana of education when you get the why. So you got the why, which is, all right, innovation is in order to find the system, yeah? How to create a system so the river, obviously the little creek is moving, and you create there a little machine for water to be picked up every time that the creek moves down, so a little system that is rotating. So you catch some water every time, and then you transfer that water through a pipe, and that system, that watering system, reach your home, and then you have a tap. If you can do that, that is innovation. It's not about achieving the goal. It's about a system that will help you always, not just with the first time, but always to achieve the goal. That is the point. And that's when you have companies that, boom, they went up because they find finally this system. Oof, now they have the system, they keep getting the water. Oh, but wow, they are doing so well. Oh, it's because they got the system. It's not because they achieved the objective. It's because they got the system that allows them to achieve that objective every time they want. So that is the why, and that is the mapping that you need to have. First point. Second point, innovation is divided in two. One kind of innovation is what we call sustaining innovation. And the other one is called disruptive innovation. Sustaining innovation is very, very, very connected to our previous unit. Is the execution of our previous unit. So little, I need to explain about that one. Little. But when it comes to the other kind of innovation, which is disruptive, wow. That kind of innovation will not only change your company, but the industry. Got it? And because you change the industry, you become the natural market leader. Are we getting this? So because we change the industry, by default, we become the market leader. How to maintain that leadership, that's a different topic. But once you are there, that's your position.
So that's true. Sustaining or disrupting innovation. It's that It's just that I'm having a very unstable connection for some reason, and I can barely hear what you're saying.
Okay, okay. So sustaining innovation is related to our previous unit. What was the name of our previous unit? Or what was the topic?
People.
That was our previous block, but I mean last week unit.
Okay. It was the continuous improvement, right?
Continuous improvement, yes. Yes. So sustaining innovation is highly related to that particular class, which was facilitating continuous improvement. So what is continuous improvement? Now we know that, yeah? We move gradually, we move steadily, step by step, systematically, we go to a point. And that is continuous improvement, which means that we have a culture to improve every day in terms of what we do. Why? Because we want to be more efficient, and as a result of that efficiency, to minimize the cost of production or development of whatever we are doing. And when we minimize the cost of production of whatever we are doing, then we can take that money, those dollars, the savings, and we can give that money to another department of the company that is called R&D. What is R&D, guys? Who knows? R&D, research and development. All right, research and development is a very, very important department in any medium-sized to large company nowadays. It's called R&D, research and development. So again, let's go backwards a little bit. What is continuous improvement? Continuous improvement is a process that allows the company to steadily, gradually, systematically achieve its objectives. Now, as we do that, we save money because we are optimizing our processes. Less friction. When we develop systems that are related to continuous innovation, we talk about friction. What is friction? When you have two elements that are competing for one of the elements, budget, time, or resources. When you have one situation like that, you have a lot of friction. That will not help the system. You try to replace that particular process. And when you do that, then you find another solution that has less friction. Because less friction, you know that, less heat. Then we need less in order to maintain that heat because the system is fluid. We take that money that we're saving and we send that money to another department, which is called R&D, Research and Development. Research and Development constantly develops products, services, experiences, systems, processes that make the company to be able to maintain the position of leadership, to maintain the position of leadership. So when we do continuous innovation, that is pretty good, but we need to be aware that that will only help us to maintain our position. Maintain. Whereas the other innovation, disruptive innovation, is not about maintaining anything, mate. It's not about maintaining. It's about actually going for the kill. You go to kill. You go to get the market. Because you want to be the market leader now. You know, it's a cultural thing. I can tell you whatever, but the founder of the company or the owner of the company needs to believe in that for the company to develop projects that are thinking about getting there. Yeah? That's why I have been insisting in my classes that the project manager first needs to understand the business plan. The project manager first needs to understand principles of business administration, business management. The project manager needs to understand the principles, the basics of planning, of business planning. Why? Because the project manager needs to get those resources, those inputs, before you make any decision in project management. You need to be informed. In project management, we make decisions based on processes. The processes will give you the inputs, which is the kind of information that you need. The information that we need to start the project is understanding the purpose of the plan, because that is what we need to communicate to the stakeholder, to the main stakeholder, which is the project sponsor. We need to tell, hey, this is the benefit of our project. And when you're talking about the benefit of your project, what you need to convey is how this project will help us to get that vision with V that we have in this company. And if you can relate, actually, right word, if you can relate what you say in terms of how your project will help the company to achieve that vision, I bet you, I put my money, you will get that project approved. You will get that project approved. So super important to remember that we need to understand that vision. Now, the disruptive innovation is creating that vision, is thinking, is that founder that has this appetite, that believes he or she is responsible for the health and survival of that industry. You know, is the kind of company that is working as a component in that industry, is one of the many competitors, but is the kind of company that has, or that believes that is its responsibility to maintain the health of that particular industry. And they just take over the industry. They develop industry associations. They create events. They connect other companies, regardless if they are competitors or good friends. And that is the attitude of this particular leader. And when you have this particular leader, it's very likely that you will live in an environment that may support disruptive innovation. May support. So it's a kind. If you ask me, Santi, what's the percentage of companies using disruptive and using sustaining? I will tell you 80-20. 80% of companies have constant improvement processes that facilitate innovation. And they have, as a result, sustaining innovation, which means that every year they are a little bit better. A little bit better. Which is good. But can you do that for 5 years? No, man. If you do that for 5 years, the competitor will get you, and smack you. Boom, you're out. What happened? Well, it's our fault. We didn't have enough projects that were related to disruptive. So disruptive innovation will change many things in the company. As a result of it, you need to manage change. All right, cool. So now we're closing the second part of the class, which is understanding what is the difference between disruptive and innovation. Also, now we know the first part, which is the purpose. Now, what is the execution? What is the applicability of innovation? What do you guys think? What do we need innovation for? What is the applicability of it? What will be the outcomes of innovation? Start thinking about it for 1 minute. Why we do it? Why we do it? Why we do it? That's why we do innovation. We do innovation. Why? To move the company, to help the company to get to the vision. We just talk about it. That's the why. That's the purpose. Why? It's like the little engine that will take the company there. To change the company, to progress, to move. Remember, it's about progressing. It's not about the cash flow. Remember when we started the class that I told you, hey guys, it's not about the cash flow. It's not just about the company having money. That's good, yes. But even with a lot of money, the company could fail. You know what I mean? If the company does not prepare the environment right. So
like
could
Kodak.
be,
Like Kodak. Remember what happened to Kodak?
Yeah. Now, how to explain this to decision makers? Probably with an example like that one. Connecting that example to what you are learning now in terms of project management. Kodak, of course, had the money. But Kodak was a very bureaucratic company. They are famous for having a 200 years plan, which is the reason why they fail. It's not that long term. It's not that long term. That's why when we were talking about this vision with V, we're talking about a vision that you have to achieve in the next 12 months. These long-term visions, this long-term planning, gone, death. Forget about that. We had the rise of a strategic planning. I know. Back in the 80s, I did a bit of money with it. I was doing well. But now, gone. These strategic documents, plans, 200 pages, nobody reads them. Waste of money. Market research, nobody really cares. Because nobody really can predict what is going to happen next week. Nobody can. Nobody can. You know, did businesses knew about this second wave or third wave? No. About the lockdown? No. No, that is impossible to measure now because we are living in disjointed times, in chaotic times, which is good. For a business perspective, it's good because new opportunities arises all the time. But planning for the long term is ridiculous because we are in an environment, a market that is changing so fast. So having a long-term planning, please, does not make sense. That is one of my criticism with education. You know, you go to learn business and still you will find many schools that will tell you, no, the marketing plan, the business plan should be this length and has to have all these components because then it's a profit. No. Then it's because nobody reads it. Because it's too much. Whereas we are moving towards synthesis and simplicity. That's what we're trying to do now. We are evolving at that level. We're becoming simpler. The system has less parts. Less parts. It's not about adding parts. It's about optimizing the system so we have less parts. All right, now we know the why. Okay, good. We also know the how. I told you, guys, this is done through processes. Remember that I told you it's not about you going and telling people, hey, well done, innovation, you like it, me too. Hey. No, it's not about that. It's about how you develop some processes and systems that facilitate the achievement of objectives, yeah? So remember that trick. Now, what is the result of this? What is the result of we creating this system, disruptive or sustaining? What is this? What is the result? The what? I gave.
Is it is it maximizing the system to get to the objective?
Yeah. We want to get to that objective, which is basically the what, of course. What is that objective? It could be represented in products, services, and experiences. Of course, I understand that. I know that I'm not asking you to give me the final product, no. But I want you to think about the following, please. Now that I have your attention. Innovation is about, for the very first time, making it possible for people that never thought they will have access to that particular product, service, or experience to have access to it. I'm going to start explaining this because this is breaking. This is a breaking point here. Because I want you to understand what is the result of it. Because if you don't understand the result, then you are not going to give a shape to this product or service that you need to develop in your company with your projects. The only reason we humans, yeah, what we do, we move forward, but we also help others, yeah, because we're humans. We move forward, but what we try to do is, as we move forward, we try to make a better world. That's what we try to do. Regardless of what people tell you guys, please, because you will be told, oh, but humans, we are the worst. You know, we are the worst thing that could happen to planet Earth. You know, the humans is the worst thing that could happen. No, that's not the point. It's actually the opposite. You know, we are doing great things. We are surviving. We're moving forward. We're healing. We're making things better. All right. So what we do when it comes to innovation is the following. We make it possible for those out there that never thought will have access to something to have it. That is what innovation gives you, that feeling. That feeling that you say, if because of my product, because of my service, people that never thought they will have access to these kind of things will be smiling and their lives will be better because now for the very first time, they have access to it. That is. And that's why it's so important. That's why we try to educate people around innovation. Because we understand how important it is. I want you guys to remember the following. This is developed, this structure, these classes that we are giving you, they are developed by the government. It's not like, oh, Santi is just telling me whatever he feels. No. Of course, I give my position to my topics, of course. But we are following a structure that is given to us by the government. The government believes that for this country to work and to continue growing, we need innovation to be one of the pillars of our businesses. That's it. So when you develop a program, it takes into consideration that perspective. The reason some countries are at the very forefront of economies is because they have innovation as core. So if you think about Japan, if you think about Australia, you think about the USA, you think about France, you think about Italy, you think about England, you think about China, more than ever before. If you think about Taiwan, you think about Singapore with the financial systems. Boom, you have, all right, why these countries are this good? Because they innovate. And when you sell innovation, guys, you make a good deal of money. Yeah, a good deal of money. But it's really good that you make a good deal, because then you transfer those savings to who? To the final customer. And as a result of that, for the very first time, people that never thought they will have access to something, they will. The personal computer is a good example of it. Can you imagine how big it was, the first computer? Well, you know that. And it was like that for years. You know, impossible for someone to have something like that. You know, like having a computer in your house, that is ridiculous. It was ridiculous, man. It was ridiculous just 40 years ago. It was unthinkable 40 years ago that someone will have a personal computer at home. Unthinkable. Why it was unthinkable? Why? Because computers were for governments and for military. Obviously, they had the millions to found such a project. But what happened? What happened? We humans, we believe in innovation. So that huge computer was, or were gradual. Those computers were gradually designed, developed, constructed, so they become more efficient in terms of the energy they consume, but also the space they use. And then we have this decomposition that give us as a result a laptop, a personal computer that you can have. So the act of people getting for the very first time something that was unthinkable before, that is what innovation is. That is what innovation is. It's not about it's about the system. If there is a problem, how you can solve it through innovation so it does not happen again. And if it happens, the system is there to solve it every time. And when we do, we have less friction. We make more income as a result of our system being frictionless. Then we need to take that leverage in terms of capital, resources, and then we need to send that, or part of it, back to the market, for the market to grow as well, for the industry to move as well, to change. What happens is that something that was very expensive before, for the very first time, becomes accessible to someone. People, communities, towns, cities, generations, they can access to it. Boom, we change. We move forward. So that is the what. Innovation is not about tweaking products. It's not about changing colors, products colors. It's not about changing product packaging. It's not about that. It's not about the product. It's not about the product. It's about how we get people to, how we help people to get for the very first time what they never thought they will have access to. And if we get that, if we get there, boom, then we move. Fantastic. So now we have the third component of our class, which is understanding the cycle of innovation, which is this: why, how, what? Why, how, what? If you understand that constantly, the company moves forward. All right, now, what happens if we do not have. Now that we talk about it, what happens when a company does not have a culture that supports innovation? What is the
disappear.
Could disappear, eventually could disappear. How it feels, how the company works, what is the structure of the company, how it feels. How can you tell me a company does not support or embrace innovation without telling me a company does not support innovation? How? Start thinking about it. How?
They don't have a website.
Hey, that's exactly what I was going to say, actually.
They do not have a website, that's what you say?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, let's think about it for a second. Good one. The website will tell us a lot, sure. But let's start with the following. A company nowadays without a website is not a company. I mean, seriously, it's like if you don't have a direct participation in the virtual market, which is the internet, you don't exist. So that is the entry point. This is the bare bones. I mean, having a website is definitely one of the musts a company needs to do before actually they start running and opening the first eye. But the website will tell us once we access the website will tell us like this if the company has a culture that supports innovation or not. Of course. Why? First of all, because of the content. If the content of a site is not updated, refreshed monthly, then you are failing. You as a company, you may not give relevance to this because you are not measuring it. So you don't give relevance to it because you are not measuring it. So, but just because you are not measuring it, it doesn't mean that doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that it's not affecting you just because you are not measuring it. So a lot of companies don't even have a look at the analytics. They don't care about the results per month. They don't care about the bounce rates. They don't care. Bounce rates, what is that? I don't care. No, we need to understand that for a company to be competitive, you need to understand why people is leaving your website from the homepage. And that is the bounce rate. Bounce rate, how many people is leaving your website when they go and they are in your homepage and they don't want to go anywhere else. They just leave the website from the homepage without clicking on anything. That is the bounce rate. We need to know those numbers because then we can localize with something that is called heat mapping, where people is clicking, where people is not clicking, and then we develop like a pathway for people to be orientated. This is what you need to do next. We invite you to go here now. It's up to you now. So we give options to people and then we innovate. We have a website that will create more conversion. What is conversion? Conversion is converting people from visitors to customers. Oh, it's because I have my website to inform. To inform? Are you a website to inform in 2021? No, man. A website is to convert. A website is there for you to convert, for you to take people from being a visitor to your website and to live as a customer of your business. We need to understand this reality, because if we do not understand this digital reality, the projects that we run will not be opportune, or the projects that we support, that we manage, that we approve, will not be opportune. So it's important to talk about the website. Thank you, Patricio. The website is a machine for you to convert visitors to customers. So as a result of it, what you need to have in that website, you need to have 3 things, and please never forget about it. If one day you're talking about a website with your clients, colleagues, partners, a website needs to have, of course, the branding, the simplicity of the branding, not the entire branding construction, no, the simplicity of the branding. Should have the product that you sell with the cost, the price, sorry, not the cost, the price of that product. Straight away in the homepage, straight away, boom. You see the brand, you see the product and the price, boom, there at the same time. And connected to a shopping cart at the same time, or connected to a payment gateway if you don't want to use e-commerce shopping carts. Because when we talk about e-commerce shopping cart, people, they build this idea of a very, very cumbersome, expensive, and difficult e-commerce system. No. It's connecting that to a pathway, to a payway. For people to be able to pay for that service like this. Has to be there, the product, the price, and how people can pay for it. And then finally, how can people contact you? How people can contact you, but like this, like straight away. Not like, oh, this is our fax number, our telephone number, our hours are from 4:30 a.m. to, and this is our PO box. Who cares? No. How can I contact you right now? Okay, yes. There is a chat, so I can start talking straight away. There's a mobile phone, so I can call that person. All right. So when you have these 3 things, straight away, straight like this, you know that that is an innovative company. Because that is part of the environment that you need for innovation to happen. And you can feel it, you can sense it when you see things like the website of a business. Fantastic. Good, Patricio. What else? What else will tell us, without telling us, that a company does not embrace, does not have an environment that fosters innovation?
For example, if they are in the social media.
The continuity, the regularity of how they use
Facebook,
social media.
Instagram, or Twitter, whatever. Because
100%.
Sometimes when you want to research about a company or about a person, you go to the social media and type the name of the company and check if they are update the information, or the information was updated 2 years ago.
And that will tell us a lot about that company. That will tell us about the management of that company. So I'm telling you, because investment or investing in companies is one of the things that I like the most about businesses. You know, like there is a market there for you to actually buy and sell companies. You know, like when you buy and sell cars, guys, you know what I mean? When you go and buy and sell motorbikes, there is a very interesting market out there, which is not public. People don't talk about it because it's a very small micro market, which is about the people in Australia that buy and sells companies or brands. It's a very, very interesting point. And one of the things that they do in order to give a qualification to that company, therefore a value in terms of what should be the price of selling, is having a look at the social media channels to see when was the last time that they did the update. Because if they see a community there, like a community of people that is following that company because of those posts, that gives a lot of value to that company when the investors do the assessment. A lot. When a brand is connected to a community, you know, like people is following that company, that brand, and that is a representation of value that actually will probably duplicate the value of your brand if you are selling it, if you have a community attached to it. And that's why 100% agree with that one. You go to the social media, and if the company does not have a healthy social media channel, it means, listen up, it means that the company does not want to talk with the customers. It means that the company does not want to inform potential and current customers. The company does not care. It means that the company does not want to educate current and coming and new customers. The company does not want to talk. The company does not want to inform. And the market will go saying, why that company does not want to talk to me? But the other company, your competitor, wants to talk to them. Boom, they go with the competitor. They go to, so we need to be careful with that one. Because social media is for us to connect, to open the space, to receive criticism, to expose yourself, to expose your projects. It's not about if you like to do this. That's not the right question here, though. Because a lot of you may be thinking, oh, but I don't like to share. I don't like to expose. I don't like to be visible. I don't like to be in the spotlight. I don't like to be criticized. I don't like to be questioned. I don't like to be celebrated and praised, because I don't want to look as an egocentric person. Stop the crap. That's not what you think. That's not what you need to think for 1 second. It's not about if you like or dislike this. No. It's understanding that that is the point for you to have attention, for you to have engagement, for you to create this idea that you are interesting, that your company is interesting. So that's why we use social media to inform. Remember what I tell you about the website. What I tell you about the website. What I told you. I told you the website is not to inform. I told you. But the social media is to inform. Because social media is how you converse. It's how you talk. It's your voice. It's your human personality in the internet. You know, like the company's human personality in the internet, the voice, the pitch, how often the company talks. It's like the human representation of the company. And you could be shy if you want, but being shy in such an aggressive market is not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Yeah, really, really, really good point, Manuel. Guys, thank you for believing in this, all right? Because this is what gives us the idea of what we should not do. Right, so we have the website, we have social media. What else? What else will demonstrate to us that a company is not supporting, embracing, celebrating innovation? Andres?
Having support in different languages. For example, being able to enter a website or see your project or company information in any language you want.
All right, good question. Good question. Now, I'm going to tell you why not, okay? But it's with all respect, my friend. All right? But it's so good.
I'm always wrong, so it's fine.
No. And that's what I don't want you to feel, all right? And there is nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's exactly what we're talking about. We need to celebrate failures, but we need to accept them as well. You know? And failing is okay. And that's why when you have a company, an organization that celebrates innovation, is a company that is okay with failing, that understands that sometimes we need to have change requests, and it's okay. A company that will tell you, oh, another change request. No, we need to understand that shit happens, basically. All of this to get there. No, but it's important that we get here to this point. Yeah. We need to be okay celebrating failure, so the person is not afraid of proposing next time. Because when we punish, when we punish the person that is, or when we punish the market department that is innovating, we make that person, that department, to be afraid of proposing next time. And boom, you destroy the culture. And that could last 20 years. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we need to be embracing innovation. All right. Another way to find out that a company does not embrace innovation is definitely because they don't celebrate failure. Good. Now, another way, another alternative. What do you think? What will, because this is, guys, I need you guys to remember, this unit is about we, project managers. We go into the company and we tell the company, look, I am a project manager. I need to organize this mess. I need the company to be okay with project managers. I want the company to have the basics. So if we do a project, it will work here. So it's like you need to prepare the field. You need to prepare the garden soil before you place the seeds. Okay? So this is what we are doing in this unit. It's just that I cannot tell you, hey, because nobody will get it. I need to explain to you first what innovation is. Because that is the point. Like, everybody believes, ask people out there, do you know what innovation is? And I bet you that everybody will tell you yes. But they don't know. And that's why you need to be in my classes, my friends, because I give you these kind of things that will definitely help you one day. Like dramatically, I believe, because it's a very important critical component. It's critical knowledge. If you ask people out there in the street what innovation is, they will always tell you, oh, innovation is making something a little bit better. It's a product with a tweak or two. It's a product with another feature. It's a product with another use. It's a product with something else, with better packaging. It's a product that is, no, that's not what innovation is. That is innovation for people out there. The name of it, the name of that thing is product development. We are developing products, but that is not innovation. What is innovation? Is developing a system that will allow people to have access to something they never thought they would have access to. So innovation, as a result of it, is optimizing the process of creating that product, that service, so it can be done focusing on simplicity and efficiency in terms of its components and parts. We have something that is smaller, more agile, more faster, more flexible, more nimble. It's smaller. We can take it, again, the personal computers. So that is what innovation is. That is what we need to keep in our minds. All right. So now, in terms of the application of this unit, which is what we're discussing now, you need to go to the company and you need to talk. You need to meet with the stakeholders. And you need to tell them, look, we are developing here a culture that will support innovation because we believe in project management. I mean, if you don't believe in project management, then the company will not do this. But if the company believes in project management, if the company teaches project management, delivers project management, works with project managers, the company needs to create this environment. So to have the soil that we were talking before. So that's why these examples of situations are really important. Another example of these situations is bureaucracy. Yes, when you need to have a permit for anything to be done in that company, that kills innovation. Yes, Andres, you agree with that one, yeah?
100%.
It's a killer, it's an innovation killer. At the very moment that you need to ask permit for you to do something, at that moment, your innovation is biased because it has been judged. You need to let it go as it is. You need to let it go. You need to take the risk. You cannot wait for that innovation to be perfect. Let it go with the good and the bad. If it works, then we bring it back and we fix it at night time. That's what we do. So yeah, that is a really good point too. What else? What else demonstrate us that the company is not ready yet? So we have bureaucracy, yes. No. But what else? Yeah, we have some policies. We have some policies that probably are not supporting innovation to best advantage. For instance, if a company still believes 2021 that they need to have their staff working from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., they are not reading the market. They are not understanding how this is done. And imagine this, you know, like that's why I like Carlos Slim from Mexico. He was already here like 20 years ago. Like that guy has been talking about flexible workplaces, flexible work environments for 20 years, man. For 20 years. And now it's happening. Imagine if people 10 years ago listened to that advice from Carlos Slim. A lot of companies will not be suffering as they are doing now with COVID-19 restrictions. But no, we live in a world that is very, very, very reactive. What is better than being reactive, guys? What do you think? What is better than being reactive? What we should do instead of being reactive?
Maybe being proactive.
Fantastic. What is better than being proactive? What is better than being proactive? So you're right, Andres. Being proactive is better than being reactive. Being reactive is actually a problem. Being proactive will solve that problem. What is even better? What is what we should be doing instead? What is even better than being proactive? Huh? Any idea, Manuel?
So You mean like anticipate? So
Yes.
be the first in do something or introduce
Yes.
something.
Yes. So being predictive, not good. Being proactive, all right, that's good. So what is the noun for that being?
The first,
For you to see what is going to happen.
yeah.
Being
I cannot find the
prepared.
word.
What is that?
Prepared.
No, it's being predictive.
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 Good.
All right. So that is the mindset. The mindset is not being reactive. Of course, we know how bad it is. But we also cannot think, oh, but because we are proactive, that is enough. It's a risky area to be right now. It's a risky area. But if you can be one step above that, which is being actually predictive, which is smelling what is going to happen, and then you move towards that direction, then you become predictive. And when you become predictive, people will follow you. Even if you are right or wrong. Even if you are right or wrong. That is the responsibility of the leader. The leader wants to be right. If he's a good leader. If he's a good leader, a good person, you want to take, your followers to a good place. If you are the opposite, you want to take your followers to the reef. Yeah. But they will follow you regardless if you are right or wrong, because you made the decision to move. And people cannot resist curiosity. People will go follow you to find out what is going to happen. Yeah, so being predictive is key. Now, this is very important. Please do not rely on data 100%. Right? Do not rely on data, because a lot of people will think or will came to the conclusion, all right, so for me to be predictive, then I need an humongous amount of data that could be calculated for me to make the decision. Not necessarily. Your intuition, your values, your perspective also adds value to that mixture. That is called an insight, by the way. That is called an insight. You guys have heard the word insight before, yes? That is one of the most beautiful words in the business language. The insight. The insight is that moment when experience and knowledge, and new knowledge meet. So you have a new knowledge, but also you have experience, so you can evaluate that knowledge. You can see that new knowledge for what actually it is, because you can compare it against other principles, against other concepts. And as a result of it, you have an insight. And as a result of it, then you take the company or the project one direction or the other direction. Yeah. So good one. So instead of we being reactive, all right, let's become proactive. Then let's start working to become predictive. When we become predictive, we rule the market. And I'm going to tell you something else, guys. And with this, we finish this component of the class. Being behind because you don't have innovation, sometimes it's actually more difficult than being at the forefront. Just, I will leave you with that one to think a little bit about. All right, guys. So now that I gave you the basics of it, let's have a short break. And then I will see you guys in about 5 minutes, okay?
Santi, can I be excused for like 10 minutes?
Yes, man. No worries, buddy.
I'm gonna be honest with you. They're gonna stop selling beer in like 10 minutes. So I gotta run to the store because it's Friday.
Go,
You know?
go and get it. Go and get it. Go and
Hey,
get it.
thank you, Santi. I'll
No worries,
I'll
man.
buy one for you, all right?
Don't forget about it.
No, I won't. No, but I just wanted to be honest. That's why I gotta run.
I appreciate that, man. And in your position, I will be doing exactly the same.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Exactly. I knew you'd understand. Manuel, I was just telling Santi that I need to be excused for like 10 minutes because they're about to stop selling beer in like 5-10 minutes. So I gotta run to the store.
Run.
Yeah.
Everything is being recorded, my friend. No
Yeah,
worries.
I know. So I told yeah.
No worries. All good. Go do that.
All right.
Enjoy.
I'll be here in 10 minutes. All right.
With a beer. So good. So good.
Santi.
Mano.
Uy. This unit is not in the book, I think, right?
This because this unit is not project management. It's one of the units that is in project management, business management, leadership. It's one of the units of the program, but it is not exclusive to project management.
Okay.
It's a unit that is not exclusive to project management. Right? So you are not going to find that in the book.
Okay. So we will find all the materials and everything in the platform.
In the platform, exactly.
Good.
Let's see.
And we have a potential student.
We have Bruno. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to fix something. It's just a matter of a minute. Guys, can you hear me?
But it's very bad. It's a lot of repetition.
Yes. You hear me now? Cool. Sorry about that. All right, so please excuse the delay with the camera and the sound. I reckon everything is fixed now. Now we have 4 elements in this unit. The 4 elements are the following. The first element of competency, establish work practices. So the of this unit is called establish work practices. All right. So once again, remember that we are doing a unit that is about establishing an innovative work environment in your organization, because this will facilitate the execution of project management. What is the first component? What is the first element that we need to see, that we need to remember, that we need to assess is your capability to establish work practices. That is the first element. Second element, create an innovative environment. That is the second element. How to create an innovative environment. What is the third element? How to implement innovative work environment. How to implement it. How to implement innovative work environment. And the element number 4 is how to share and evaluate innovative ideas. How to share and evaluate innovative ideas. All right, so let's go to the first element, establish work practices. What is that we need to do? That we need to understand? First of all, how to identify the relevant stakeholders that will help us to facilitate innovation in the workplace. So it's all about identifying the stakeholders. Once we have identified the stakeholders, then we need to identify the organizational objectives. The organizational objectives. We need to understand that vision. We need to understand what is that the company wants to achieve. Then you move on and you evaluate the current work conditions. In your business, in your organization. Once you have evaluated the work conditions, guys, you need to determine if those work conditions will allow innovation in the company, will allow innovative practices. Because it's not just about having good work conditions, no. It's about having good work conditions that will facilitate innovation, that will allow innovation. Once you have done that, you need to identify the resources that you have related to innovation. Example, access to software. Example, access to technology. Example, access to the internet. Example, access to learning that is related to innovation and technology. And finally, for you to finalize with that element, you need to build and lead a team that helps you to maximize the opportunities for innovation, to maximize the opportunities for innovation. So look, all of this for us to end with a team, with a group of people that will actually maximize opportunities for innovation. So that is related to the first element. Don't worry, you're going to find all of this in the platform. This is all related to establishing work practices. So that's the first thing that we do. Then we move to the second element, which is to create an innovative work environment. How we create the work environment? First of all, by evaluating the impacts of change. You need to be able, you need to have a system that will allow you to evaluate the impacts of change. How change impacts the organization? In the baseline of the organization. What is the baseline of the organization? People, processes, and technologies. So you need to manage that change, because innovation will change something related to people, something related to processes, something related to technologies. Again, this is when you talk to the change management team, or when you have a change manager in your organization. If you don't have that resource, then you need to manage the change. But once we have evaluating the impacts to the baseline, which is people, processes, and technologies, then we need to collaborate with the stakeholders to develop new ideas. How we have a team that is open to develop new ideas. How? By we project managers creating, developing an environment for people to be able to collaborate. So that's why, for example, guys, right now, a lot of companies are talking about collaboration tools. What are collaboration tools? Collaboration tools allows you to do what? To work from distance, to work remotely. Guys, I want you to have a look at my screen for 1 second, okay? For you to understand what we are doing. Look, this unit, have a look, is establish innovation or innovative work environments, all right? This is the unit that we're doing now. Okay, it's a new unit. This is our first week, which means that this is the lecture, the theory week. What I want you guys to do today is to remember the content of this unit. So what is the content of this unit? It's divided in 4 elements. This is what we need to make sure that you know for you to pass this unit. Just want you guys to understand this. You see this performance criteria here? This means that you need to have these skills. All right, so what is the first element that we are looking at? Is this one, establishing work practices. You need to identify the stakeholders that will allow you, like people that believe what you believe. Then you need to identify the objectives, the vision of the company, current work conditions. Those work conditions allow innovation, yes or no? What are the resources that the company has? Software, technology, meeting places, policies that allow innovation. And finally, you need to build a team. Without this, without building the team, innovation does not happen, because innovation is done through people. So this is just to establish the work practices. Then we move to this element, which is, all right, now let's create that environment. But we cannot create that environment without we understanding the impacts that change will bring to the organization. It's not just about creating, it's also about managing the chaos as a result of creation, the mess as a result of creation. It's like when you go to the kitchen to cook something, to create something. You want to prepare something, but you also want to clean afterwards, yeah? Because otherwise it's going to be unsustainable. You know what I mean? It's not going to be sustainable. There is one point where you don't have more dishes, you don't have more space if you don't clean up the kitchen. So it's the same. It's the same here. We develop innovation, of course, but then we need to evaluate the impacts of innovation to the organization. And remember, impact happens at 3 levels: people, processes, or technologies. All right. Now, the second thing that we need to do is, all right, now that we have this understanding of innovation matters, let's meet, let's brainstorm for ideas to happen, develop ideas. When we brainstorm, we may use techniques to help people to air up those ideas. The most common technique is something that is called design thinking. Anybody here has heard about design thinking? There is a lot of workshops around design thinking. Design thinking is basically a methodology that allows people to participate in one of these brainstorming meetings. Is done through these post-its, like these papers that stick on walls. Yeah. Then we need to identify and select the resources required for enhancing the work environment. Then we need to define, all right, what are those resources that we need? And resources are people, but it also could be software. It also could be machinery, like computers. So you need to identify what is that you need to acquire in order to facilitate the innovation process. And here is when companies that are thinking about innovation, they invest on software because they are creating the innovation, the innovative work environment. Now, then we move to 2.4. 2.4 is assess the ability of the workplace to support innovation. Does the organization has the policies, has the information, has the organization has the forms, has the organization have the roles for innovation to happen, yes or no? If the company does not have the ability to support innovation, then you need to fix that before you actually start doing innovation. And then finally, we move to the last performance criteria element, which is how to assist team members to adapt and perform in a new work environment. Training. So what is the training package that is helping employees to be more competitive, more competitive, more competitive? What is that training package? And then the company says, oh, but it's not my responsibility to train my employees. It is. It is. If they don't perform to best advantage because they don't have the knowledge, the organization is the one that gets more affected, not the employee. The organization suffers more with that employee. It's more detrimental. So you don't want that to happen. You want people to be performing to the best. And some companies will go, oh, but I don't want to do that because they will leave to a different company. Well, that is less impactful, that is less negative than you keeping the low performer in the company. That is even worse. So this one is one of the most important ones for us to develop, to create the innovative work environment. We need to assist the team to adapt and perform, but this is done at the core of the company. The company has training as something that is important in this company. All right, once we have defined this environment, then we implement it. Then we make that environment to actually give us something back. We execute on it. Now, what we need to do? We need to encourage creative mindsets. We need to encourage, we need to reward people that is making mistakes. How ridiculous, isn't it? That we need to reward people that is making mistakes. How it doesn't make any sense. But the problem is that if we do not reward them, they are not going to try again. So we cannot judge the employee in terms of how many mistakes he or she has. No. We need to judge the employee in terms of how willing is that employee to start again. If the employee is willing to start again, really good employee. And you want to keep that person in your company because he's willing to start again. He's beaten, he's blooding, he's bruises everywhere, of course. I go from whatever, I start again. You know, that's what you want. Whereas if you don't develop that environment, people will say, no, I don't even going to, I'm not going to even try. And then that is the employee that is affecting your business. So that's why we need to encourage creative mindsets. But the word does not really represent the action. This is about rewarding. It's like actually you giving a benefit, a tangible benefit to the employee, to the team member that is proposing new ideas. Oh, but the idea is really bad. All right, probably the next one will be better. So that has to be in those performance criteria when you assess your team members, the rewarding program. All right, then we move down and we reinforce the value of innovation according to our vision and objectives. So again, at this point, we go back to our team and we tell them, remember that this is our vision. It's super important to understand the following, guys. If we don't have a vision, nothing else will work. No project management will work. The company will not grow because nobody really knows what is the north. So I am so sorry if you hear this all the time, vision, you know, but it's because the bloody vision is intrinsic in project management. It's because that is the light, that is the North Pole. All right. So we need to reinforce it here when we implement it. We need to keep, and this is what coaches do, you know, they yeah, we can do it, we keep going. All right, then we need to understand that there is a risk component associated to innovation. So we need to understand that innovation is risky. And we need to measure that risk somehow. And we need to define if the risk of that innovation may affect our company or may affect our project. We need to associate that risk to what? To return. If it's risky, if it's risky, but there is a probability that we are going to increase our return on investments, let's do that innovation. If the innovation is risky, but there is not return on investment, don't even do it. It's stupid to do that. But if you say, this is new, hasn't been proven, but if it works, then we can have a return on investment. It is irresponsible not to do it. All right, so it's important to take the risk. And if we get back a little bit to our first classes, we discussed it, project managers are people that are okay with risk. Risk takers. It's all about us. It's all about them. All right. Then we need to select ways of celebrating and encouraging innovation. This is done usually at the end of the year, when you actually recognize that team member, that employee that is constantly innovating. So that is the implementation component. Finally, we move to the last element. And the last element is to share and evaluate innovative ideas and work environments, right? So before we get into this element of competency, let's discuss what an idea is. What is an idea? Is that something that we need to protect? Is that something that we need to hide from others? So here we go. Because if you think that an idea is something that we need to hide, that we should not share with others, then this is not going to work. I'm telling you, it's not going to. All right. So first of all, we need to get that understanding. We need to get ourselves to that point. Ideas are not to be hidden, to be covered, to be protected, so people do not have access to them, so others cannot try them. That is a big mistake, and we were educated wrongly in that regard. We were educated like, don't tell anyone your idea because somebody will copy your idea. That was the wrong teacher. It sounds like logic, and everybody was, oh yeah, of course, because it sounds like, but in reality, it does not pay. It does not pay anyone. The idea without execution is nothing. The idea, the dream, not being executed, still is a dream. Does not change. So we need to understand at this particular point that if we have an idea, it does not matter if we execute it or my neighbor executes it. It doesn't matter. What really matters is that when someone refers to that development, to that process, to that progress, they will think about your brand, because they will think they were the first ones talking about it. They couldn't get to the point of making it perfect, okay, but they were the first ones talking about it. And that creates brand recognition. And brand recognition is one of the most important assets a company may have. I'm telling you, it's about 70, 80% of the assets. In terms of assets value, branding is the most important one. How do you get a brand to be at that point, to have reputation, to have recognition, is because the brand, the company has been doing things pretty well for a while. But the company cannot stop there. That is the point of this class. Because when you stop, then you get yourself in a situation that is actually more risky than doing new things. It's more dangerous to stay where you are than moving. It's more risky. Let's not do nothing because everything is risky. Quite the opposite. That if it's risky, do things. Like I'm telling you guys, we are in COVID times. And it's the most interesting time for a teacher like me, because everything is unfolding in front of your eyes. Everything is unfolding in front of my eyes. I see companies dying. I see companies surviving in front of my eyes. happening every day. And I'm telling you, the companies that are suffering, that are disappearing, are those companies that they say, oh, it's COVID, let's protect ourselves, let's close the doors, let's do nothing because everything is too risky. Those are the companies that will disappear when all this ends. But you have other companies that are, no, actually, because it's COVID, let's try new things, let's do new things, let's as fast as we can, and agile project management plays a role here. As fast as we can. Prototyping, fast prototyping, that is the company that will make it. That's why this is a very, very important unit in your diploma of project management. Because if we do not embrace innovation, if we do not understand that project management is there to support the company to achieve its vision, and it is expected that the vision means that tomorrow is better than today. And that is the result of innovation. It's one of the pillars. When people ask me, Santi, two things that the business needs to survive, innovation and customer service. If the company has these two, innovation and customer service, the company survives. Now, for the company to be successful, then you need two other things, which is the system, the business system, and the brand. But for the company to survive, innovation and customer service. So when it comes to these four elements, it's about we understanding that you need to create an environment for people to actually speak out their ideas. Not the opposite, which is, I'm not going to share this idea because my colleague, who is better than me in that area, will do it before me. Doesn't matter. We need to change that chip. If your colleague does it because he's better than you, well, that's why he can do it better than you. So let's give that idea to that person. So it's about sharing the ideas. So that's 4.1. 4.2, we need to provide and encourage formal and informal learning opportunities to develop skills required for innovation. When was the last time that you went to an innovation workshop in your company? Think about it. When was the last time that you were educated on innovation? When was the last time? Did you know? Did you know about what I told you this morning about sustaining innovation and disruptive? No. The company, the good company, should not allow that to happen. The good company should have annually, once a year, a seminar, a workshop for employees to be trained in innovation. So they get all the time refreshed. They get again to the point that they understand innovation is connected to the vision. If we don't do innovation, we do not achieve the vision. If we do not achieve the vision, our company dies. We lose our employment. Now this happens in 5 years or in 20 years, all right? But right now, because of COVID, it's happening like this in front of your eyes. 4.3, create the opportunities though. But opportunities so individuals can learn from others too. So that is the innovation system. Is innovation being recorded? Is innovation being organized into plans? Yes or no? And finally, and perhaps the most important one, are you seeking and respond to suggestions and feedback? So if you are not seeking feedback, you are missing the opportunity to get someone that could help you quickly to make your innovation even better. So that's why we need to ask for feedback. We need to say how it went. Do you like it? What do you think about it? You need to share that innovation with someone quickly, so that person has an opportunity to give you feedback. And if you get the feedback and that feedback is positive, is something that actually will make your innovation better or your product better, straight away you execute, you implement that feedback, and the prototype is much better tomorrow. A feedback at the right time saves companies, saves projects. Good. Okay, let me stop the screen and give me 1 minute, guys. I want to present to you something. Okay, guys. Andres, Patricio, Manuel, I want you guys to watch this video for me to actually illustrate everything that I have discussed with you guys today. All right, guys, can you see the screen? She is Monica, my friend. Hmm? She's Monica, and she represents innovation in terms of what we are doing at Lonsdale Institute and SOT, the School of Digital. This represents innovation, but why this is innovation? Why? Because this will make the company change once again, and then it will change again. It's all about changing, all right? So that's the why. Now, when we think about the how, what kind of innovation is this? Sustaining or disruptive? Think about this. Is it sustaining innovation? Is something that is making our last product better? Is improving our last product, or is actually doing the entire thing from a different angle? So is it sustaining? Because if it's sustaining, it's all good. It's helping us to what? To maintain ourselves in the market, to sustain ourselves, to survive in that market. It's okay, it's important. Yeah. But if it's not sustaining innovation, then what kind of innovation it will be?
Disruptive.
What is the other innovation kind?
Disruptive innovation.
Anybody remembers? Patricio?
It was disruptive and sustaining innovation.
What is that, Patricio?
Sustaining innovation.
Cannot hear you, man.
Sustaining innovation, I think.
All right, so that is sustaining innovation. What is the other one?
Disruptive.
Disruptive innovation. What happens when you apply disruptive innovation? What happens to the industry?
You change the industry and become the leader of it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So if you think about this kind of innovation, this is disruptive. Why disruptive? Because no one has done it. No one has done it. Risky? Of course it is. Very risky. Very risky. But if it works, because it's very risky, the return on investment will be very high. And when you have return on investment, you transfer that value in terms of savings to who? Those savings, did you transfer those savings to who? Andre, to who? Who remembers?
I think it was the research and development department.
Part of it, and the other part of it too. Who remembers? Manu, Andres, give Patricio a hand. So,
Let me see my note.
have a look, because this has to be super clear in our minds. Yeah, we need to know the answers to this, because look, I have been explaining everything to you for the last 2 hours. All right, now I want to show you how I did execute it, how I did it, how I did it. Sorry, how I did apply what I learned about this unit, for you to have an example of how this is applied. So this innovation will give us some return on investment. Of course it will. Now, the return on investment has to be used, of course, sending some part of it, some savings to R&D, so you continue improving this, making it better tomorrow, of course. But the other component of savings will go to what? Will go back to who? To the market. This is the entire point, guys. If this is not sent back to the market, then innovation does not have a social impact. Because innovation is done so you can have people that never thought they will have access to it, to have access for the very first time. So this will make the system more efficient. Saving is created. As a result of those savings, the final price of sale of a product will be below what it was. For the very first time, you will have people buying your product that never thought they will have the capability, the financial capability to acquire, to buy it. That is innovation. If it's not doing that, it's not innovation. If what you are doing is not making your product more affordable, if what you are doing is not making your product more reachable, so others can get it, is not real innovation. So we miss Andres, but have a look at this, Patricia, because I reckon Manuel already saw it.
Hi, this is Monica. I am an artificial intelligence teaching assistant at Lonsdale Institute and SOD, the School of Digital. This is an overview video of your incoming class with your teacher, Santi Bella. The class has been carefully designed to train project managers so they can create and nurture a work environment that actually enables and supports innovation. Of course, we want you to apply this across all areas of project management. This class will gradually expose you to critical knowledge required to establish work practices to better support and drive innovation in the workplace. You will leave the Zoom class feeling confident when evaluating new ideas for business or project improvement. Enjoy your class, and thanks again for doing your diploma of project management with us. Bye. Hi, this is Monica.
All right. Artificial intelligence of the narrow kind. This basically means that she is not real. It's not real in terms of flesh and bones, I know. But it's very efficient in terms of sharing a message about what this class is all about. This is in the platform. This is for you guys when you get back to the platform to open the learning management system, to open the unit, and then, okay, let's watch what is this unit all about. Boom, you have this video. All right, now you understand that this is about innovation. This particular class is about innovation. Now, I'm going to tell you how did I apply this. First of all, by understanding that if I can do this technology, if I can apply this technology, I can develop a system that is more efficient. Why? Because if I, Santi Vela, if I do each one of these videos myself, the system will not be as efficient as if I have someone else to do those videos for me. Because those videos that this video that you're watching is not a class. No, it's the introduction video of a class. It's the presentation video of a class. It's sharing information about the content of a class. It's not giving you an opinion. It's not guiding you. It's not telling you what to do. That is what I do as a teacher, because I can do it. Not Monica, but Monica can definitely give you an overview of the class. So I don't need to do that, because the overview from Santi will be exactly the same as the overview from anyone else, because this is the overview of the unit. And remember, this is given to us by the government. So that's the reason why. Now, in terms of the how, if the industry sees value on this, what they will tell us, how did you guys do that? How can we do the same? Probably they will not tell you, probably they will start trying to do the same. And then you see that trend happening. But at least when it comes to the health of your organization, you can say, people will actually recall that you were the first one doing it. So that is in terms of the how, because I believe this one is extremely disruptive, because it's something that has not been done before. What is the result of it? The result of it is a learning management system. It's a learning management platform that is more efficient, more cost efficient than one that I need to hire a person to say something that does not need your analysis. So having an actor there, a presenter there, doesn't not make any sense, because it's not adding more value than Monica as a virtual assistant. So that is just something that I wanted to share with you guys, especially with Fabricio, because I shared this with Manuel already, for you to see how to execute innovation in the workplace as a result of what you have learned. Okay, guys, so that is the content of the unit. Those are the principles of the unit. Now, I want to share something with you, which is who on earth is the representation of innovation. Who is the person that is actually developing all these innovation models? That person is a guy that is called Clayton Christensen. Just give me 1 second.
Good afternoon. So welcome to the Clarendon Management Lecture. I am thrilled to welcome Clayton Christensen to Oxford. When I was named Dean a few years ago, Clayton came up to me within a day or so and said that he had a fabulous experience at Oxford and he was hoping that he could come back someday. And I am delighted that today is that day. We're the first of a visit here at Said Business School and the ability to talk to all of you about his theories of management. Now, I don't really need to introduce Clayton very much because that's why you're all here. You know enough about him, but he's not a slouch. Let's put it that way.
Just going to get ahead the presentation. But yeah, it's Clayton Christensen, guys.
This is all that you could find that would be partially interesting.
This is the person on earth that has done majority of research in terms of what innovation is and how to apply innovation to work practices and project management.
But it's been a great opportunity for me to think through the today, tomorrow, and Wednesday and what I might offer that is new and yet wouldn't waste your time. So what I want to lay out today in one way or another is what I think might be the beginnings of a new theory of growth, whose roots are at a microeconomic level, not the perspective of what an economist might view from the top down. And what I'm hoping is that the model might be useful enough that it could help us explain why some of our economies have stagnated, and then also understand what can enable a nation in poverty to become prosperous. So I don't know if these will work or not, but if they're of interest to you, and some of you are interested in similar things, I would love to have a chance to talk this over through you. So what I'm going to do, for those of you who haven't suffered through a repetition of what the theory of disruption is, I'd like to just lay this out for you. And then we'll come back to that for the rest of the time together. Where this came from was, as Peter mentioned, I founded several firms, but one of them has become quite successful. And I did that before I became an academic. And I brought with me a set of questions as I reflected on my own experience. A primary one was, what causes successful companies to lose their growth and ultimately fail? And this is the model that emerged. And what I'm going to do is describe the model in the context of a case about the steel industry. So for those of you who've not yet made a lot of steel in your lives, there are two ways to make it. Most of the world's steel historically has been made in massive integrated steel companies. It would take about $10 billion to build an integrated steel company today. The other way to do it is in what we call a mini mill. Mini mills melt scrap in electric furnaces. And we could put easily 8 electric furnaces in this room, because you can make steel of any given quality in one of these mini mills. They don't have to scale up the downstream processing steps, and that's why they call these things mini mills. The most important dimension of a mini mill is that, in fact, you can make steel of any quality for 20% lower cost in a mini mill than you can make it in an integrated mill. So just think about this for a minute. Imagine that you were the CEO of an integrated steel company somewhere in the world. You're making commodities. Here is a technology, mini mills, that would reduce the full cost of making steel by 20%. Don't you think you'd adopt this new technology? It's broadly available. And yet not a single integrated steel company anywhere in the world has yet successfully built and operated one of these mini mills. And this is my sense for why something that makes consummate sense is actually impossible for smart people to do. So the steel market, like every market, is comprised by tiers. At the bottom of the market is concrete reinforcing bar, or rebar. Almost all of us could make rebar if we wanted to. At the high end of the market is sheet steel that's used to make appliances and cars. It's actually very hard to make that stuff. And at the beginning of this story, the integrated steel companies made the full range of these products. Mini mills became technologically viable in the late 1960s. And because they were melting scrap in these electric furnaces, the quality that they could produce was uniformly bad. In fact, the only market that would buy what the mini mills made was the concrete reinforcing bar market, because there are almost no specs for rebar anyway. And then once you buried it inside of cement, you couldn't verify if it had met spec or not. And so rebar was a perfect market for crummy products. As the mini mills attacked the rebar market, the reaction of the integrated mills over there was they were just relieved to get out of the rebar business. It truly was, in American English, a dog-eat-dog commodity. Their gross margins were only 7%. It just made no sense to defend a crummy 7% margin business when in the tier above them, the integrated steel companies could generate 12% gross margins. So an interesting thing happened. As the mini mills were expanding their capacity to make rebar, and the integrated steel companies got out, as they got out of rebar and added up the remaining numbers, their profitability improved by getting out. Mini mills, because they had a 20% cost advantage, they rolled tons of money by getting in. So they're quite happy one with another. But that disappeared in 1979. That was the year when the mini mills finally succeeded in driving the last high-cost integrated player out of rebar. You look at what happened to the price of rebar in 1979. The price of rebar collapsed by 20%. It just turns out that there's a subtle fact about strategy that nobody had thought about before. And that is, a low-cost strategy only works as long as you have a high-cost competitor in your market. And as soon as they had fled up market, then it was just low-cost mini mill fighting against low-cost mini mill in a commodity business. Very quickly, competition drove prices of rebar down to the point where nobody could make money. So what are these poor mini mills going to do? Well, they try to become efficient making rebar, but that's just a recipe for survival. And then one of them looked up market and announced, oh my gosh, if we could just make bigger and better steel, we'd make money again, because the margins there are nearly double. And so they stretched their ability from rebar into making thicker bar and rod and angle iron. As they attacked that tier of the market, the reaction of the integrated mills was they were just relieved to get out of that business, because it was such a dog-eat-dog commodity. And why would they ever want to defend a crummy 12% margin business when they could make 18% in structural steel? So the very same thing happened. Is the integrated steel companies lopped off the lowest profit part of the product line and added the remaining numbers, their profitability improved by getting out. And the mini mills, by getting in, had a 20% cost advantage again. And everything was hunky-dory on both sides until 1984. That was the year when the mini mills finally succeeded and drove the last high-cost integrated player out of angle iron, bar and rod. If you look at what happened to the price of those products in 1984, their prices collapsed by 20%. And the reward to the mini mills for their victory is they couldn't make any money. So what are these poor suckers gonna do? One of them looked up and said, my gosh, if we could just even bigger and better steel, called a Chevy skill. Now, where it took our economy 15 months to achieve the price from a different perspective than the one I described before is at work with yours and in Japan's as well. So the first type of disruption or of innovation that's salient to this, I'll call disruptive innovation. And it looks at it from a different perspective than the one I described before. I'll describe here 3 concentric circles, and they're meant to represent populations of people, where in the center, these are the customers in an industry who have the most money and skill. And then these larger circles represent larger populations of people who have less money and less skill. Now, almost always in an industry, it begins at the center, because the first manifestations of new technology are indeed complicated and expensive. So in the case of computing, this first manifestation was what we call the mainframe computer. It filled a whole room. It cost about $2 million to own it and operate it. And it took years of training to operate it. And so only the largest universities and the largest corporations could have one. And therefore, it was a limited size of the market. Only the wealthy could have access. The personal computer was a disruptive technology. And I call it disruptive because it transforms what was a complicated, expensive product into something that is so affordable and simple that even a poor fool like Clayton Christensen could own a computer. And if you remember, those early personal computers were very limited at the beginning. And when we had a complicated problem, we had to take it to the center where people who operated the mainframe helped us. But my gosh, that personal computer just got better and better and better and better. And so that more and more you can do more and more things on that personal computer, and you just didn't need the mainframe nearly as much until ultimately that just disappeared. And that personal computer was pretty much all that we needed. Notice the economics were so different. These guys, $2 million, gross margins of $1.2 million per machine. The personal computer, they cost $2,000, not $2 million. And that meant that the gross margins were only $700 per machine. As a result, the people that made the mainframe computers, just like the integrated steel companies, made better and better and better mainframe computers. They didn't go after this low-end product because it just made no sense to go after that when the margins up here were so attractive. Then the next one of substance was the smartphone. The cost is $200 rather than $2,000, and gross margins per unit are $80. So the very same thing is at work. At the beginning, you could just use the simplest problems with that machine. And so we had to do the complicated ones on our personal computer. But oh my gosh, this technology just gets better and better and better, so that more and more we can do our problems on this little device. And ultimately, we're just not needing the personal computer nearly as much as was historically the case. And true to form, the people who make these products, the personal computers like Dell, Hewlett-Packard, Lenovo, ASUS-Tech, they're not making these products because it makes very little sense to make something that doesn't make sense. So this is the first type of technology. I'll call it disruptive innovation. And what these innovations do is they transform complicated products into simple products that are much more affordable. Now, I'm going to put those here. The impact that disruptive innovations have is that they create jobs, because so many more people can own and use these computers. More people are buying them. That means you have to hire people to make them and distribute them and sell them and service them. If you could go back into our history or yours, I'm quite certain that the data will show that nearly 100% of all of the net jobs that have created in our economies in the last 100 years were created by disruptive innovations. Again, by making it affordable and accessible. Now, they use capital. When you're growing, you just need to put assets on the balance sheet in order to finance that growth. So that's the first type. The second type we call sustaining innovations. And sustaining innovations on the prior slide were making better mainframe computers or better personal computers. Their purpose is to make good products better. And these are very important for our economy because they kept the market efficient and productive, but on average, they don't create jobs. And the reason is when we buy a new product, we don't buy the old product. When Toyota successfully sells a Prius, the hybrid car, they don't sell a Camry. And so by their very nature, sustaining innovations, which make good products better, don't create a lot of new jobs in the economy. And because of their very nature, of their replacative in character, they don't use a lot of capital either. So important that that was the role that they played. And then the third type of innovation, we're calling an efficiency innovation. Efficiency innovations allow you to sell the same products to the same customers, but cheaper. And so Walmart is an efficiency innovation. They allow you to produce the same products to the same customers about 15% lower cost. Now, when Walmart builds a store in a community, they have to hire people to work in their store. But if you look at the region, almost always the number of people in retailing is reduced because they're so much more efficient in getting it from here to there. Now, if I go back to the mainframe mini computer discussion, when the integrated steel companies were going up market, they were investing in sustaining innovations very aggressively to make better products that they could sell for better profits to their best customers. The mini mill was an efficiency innovation. They could make a ton of steel with many fewer people than was required in an integrated steel company. And so the impact of efficiency innovations is that they eliminate jobs. But importantly, they free capital. And what I mean by that is, for example, before Toyota came into North America, it took the American car companies about 60 days to assemble a car. And as it went through this turtle pace, there had to be a lot of work in process inventory in that factory. And that required a lot of capital to keep that on the balance sheet. When Toyota figured out what the Toyota production system was about, they innovations. So it's almost like this works as a perpetual motion machine. As long as efficiency innovations are creating enough capital that we can launch disruptive innovations, and as long as disruptive innovations create more jobs than efficiency innovations eliminate, it just keeps going. And I would believe, on my sense, capital that had been in system was about.
Guys, I'm about to finish
They
with this,
reduced
but
the
please pay
cost
attention
or
to
the time
this last
required
little
to
bit.
assemble a car
This is the
from
best
60
component
days to
of
2
everything.
days. And because they did it so quickly,
Not this, I will
you
tell
just
you
didn't
one.
have to have all of that work in process inventory on your balance sheet. And so all of that capital that had been imprisoned on the balance sheet was freed up to be used for other things. And so
Now,
you could use that capital then to invest in new disruptive innovations. And so it's almost like this works as a perpetual motion machine.
the cycle that I told you.
As long as efficiency innovations are creating enough capital that we can launch disruptive innovations, and as long as disruptive innovations create more jobs than efficiency innovations eliminate, it just keeps going. And I would believe, my sense is that over the last 150 years in North America, our machine worked in this way. But then I mentioned to you, something has gone wrong. And this is my sense for what that, in fact, has gone wrong. And that is that rather than working at it as a circle, it's laid out in a straight line. And the problem with the straight line is it has a beginning and an end. Where that came from was a couple of concepts. The first one was a marvelous economist named on your balance sheet that over the last 150 years in a motion machine.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there. But this is a full lecture on innovation from Clayton Christensen. Of course, it's on 1 hour and 20 minutes. Have a look at it later on. But remember, this is the guy who has done the research about innovation. The reason why we talk about innovation is because Clayton Christensen is writing about it. This is the academic person that knows about innovation on planet Earth. Clayton Christensen, all right, is the guy, all right? Now, I just want you guys to remember this. So let's just analyze this one more time, you and I, so it's easier to understand. Clayton Christensen is phenomenal, but he goes around and it's a little bit difficult to follow him if you are not used to him. But let's just stop here for 1 second. Disruptive innovations, all right, they create jobs and they use a lot of money. So what is a disruptive innovation? Is that one that will take the industry to a new level, the industry grow. Again, you have a solution for the industry problem. So, for example, in terms of our current industry, which is education, is suffering. It's passing through a very difficult moment because of COVID. Many other industries are suffering as well. What needs to happen? The industry needs to be disrupted, because if it's not disrupted, then jobs, instead of being created, will disappear. So we need that disruption for new jobs to happen, for agencies to open, for students' agencies to start operating, for brokers to start operating, for the whole thing to start up. But obviously, the companies that are doing okay now, they need to use capital in order to create disruptive innovation. So a company right now needs to invest in disruptive innovation. Once the disruption happens, then it's going to be normal. That's why we need to understand. Once, like I was showing this artificial intelligence video to you before. Now it's something new. But once this is normal, it's not going to be new anymore. It's going to be part of the landscape. And that's when you have sustaining innovations. You are developing an innovation that is just maintaining your position in the marketplace. Little jobs are created and you don't need more money because the investment was done here in the disruptive one to create a system. And then you move once again to the efficiency innovations. which means that you don't need more jobs, you don't need more people, because everything is being automated. Everything is being mapped. It works by itself. A lot of companies actually call this passive income because you don't need people. It's just something working that is giving you return. But what happens is the following. When you have that situation, that company can use the money in something else. What is something else? Research and development. Start again developing the new thing from tomorrow. But if you are not used, if your company is not used to this changing dynamic, then you don't know what you're doing. So if in one photo we can resume today class, is this particular photo, is this particular screenshot. My invitation to you guys is, when you work on your projects, try to find out where your project is located in one of these three areas. Is your project disruptive? Is your project sustaining? Is your project about efficiency? And that's the reason why this class is part of our program, guys. Okay, guys, so I'm going to close this down before we finish the class. Any questions about the content? Anything that has not been clarified? Anything that you want to say? Anything that has not been clear about innovation? Because we need to fall in love for innovation. Like if we don't, yeah, the project manager needs to be someone that is okay with innovation, in other words. Patricio, any question, any comments? Guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, I have an unstable connection, but I can hear you.
All right, Patricio, any particular question about the unit, anything that is not clear? Do you see how it is connected to project management?
Yeah, I see it, and no questions so far.
All right, good, man, good. Manu, any questions? Anything that is not clear to you?
No, all good.
All good, beautiful.
Check the resource later when you put in the platform.
Yep, I will add the class and the rest of the resources, and probably in a couple of hours you will be able to access this class as well.
Okay, and you will create the link of this seminar as well for us, in case we want to watch.
Yes, yes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to wait for a couple of hours for this link to be totally rendered, and then I update the class, and then have a look at the platform in about a couple of hours. You should be a notice there, an announcement with the new class being added to the system.
And you will add as well this seminar that we watch in the USA, right?
Yes, yes, of course.
Good. Because look very good, very interesting.
Oh man, yes. If it's I know it's a pain in the ass because Clayton Christensen is not the best.
Communicator.
Not the best communicator. He's shy, but man, he's so. Yeah, it's a pain. It's a pain of a class, but it's really good. Okay, guys, have a good one. See you next Saturday.
Yes. Enjoy the weekend, guys. Bye.
Wow.